Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Eon Network podcast. I'm Adrian Matt, your host, and I cannot wait for today's episode. It's going to be a little controversial, but also very interesting. But joining us live right now via the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, please join us, our broadcast colleague who joins us every week on the Eon Network's commentary side of things, none other than Ttyme. T, welcome aboard.
What's up, guys? Yeah, it's your boy Broken Rebel Tea Time, and I'm here on podcast with Adrian, and I can't wait for you. Can't wait for this. I've been waiting to. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, Adrian.
Yeah, and you and I have talked over the past couple of weeks, and of course, I agree to have you in here because I understand that you have a lot to say about Donald Trump. And for anyone out there, well, I'm sure everyone actually knows Donald Trump is running for president. We're going to find out who's going to be president this coming November when the elections conclude. But there are so many things that I know that you have to say about Donald Trump. And I'm going to go ahead and just start off with a very basic question. What is it about Donald Trump that you do not like?
Well, the first thing I don't like is he's a well-known racist, right? I mean, it goes back to his father being part of the KKKs, and Donald Trump was affiliated with that. He took his son, you know, being around the KKKs. So that's one reason that I don't like Donald Trump.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people out there that always say that he's not racist, and I got to say, a lot of people do not understand that as Donald Trump, he is running for president. Of course, he's not going to go out in the open and say, "Hey, everybody, I'm a racist." Nobody's going to vote for a guy that's going to be racist. Well, most of the people wouldn't, vote for the guy. I'm sure a lot of the racists out there will. But nonetheless, Donald Trump would not go out there in the open and just say, "Hey, yeah, I'm a racist." No, but it was documented back in the 80s and 90s. Back in the 1980s and 90s, there were all these stories, and you can look it up, and of course, all these stories were verified, accurate, and so forth. But there were all these stories about Donald Trump and how he would treat people who were black, for instance. I mean, for example, I was reading this story just a few weeks back, and it basically explained how there was this white woman that came into the hotel, the Trump hotel, and she was actually given a room. Actually, reverse that. It was a black woman that came in to the Trump hotel, and she asked, was there, are there any rooms available? They denied her service. And yet a white woman later on would walk in a couple of minutes after, and they said, yeah, we do have rooms available. So again, there's so many documents that state that he, along with the other people, along with his white supremacist supporters, I'm sure, he honestly believes that white people, the white race is above any other race. Clearly, through his comments through the years and his actions and all that stuff. But the other point that I would like to make, something that a lot of people have been talking about as well, but something that the Donald Trump supporters don't like talking about, it's the E. Jean Carroll accusation. Of course, Donald Trump was accused of groping, sexual assaulting, of course, a woman. Actually, 25 women, from what I understand, 25 women since the 1970s. But in June of 2019, E. Jean Carroll did say that Trump raped her. And I don't like I don't like saying these words, but for the sake of the podcast, that's what it states. There's all these different facts and such that, of course, they do say that Donald Trump has a lot of misconduct when it comes to, of course, groping women and so forth. What are your thoughts of these disgusting reports that come in just left and right about Donald Trump? The fact that he actually is that disgusting that he literally forces upon himself on women.
So, before I touch that, I just want to let other people know that I don't know if you or anybody else heard the news recently that we just found out that Donald Trump was interested in a 13-year-old back in the day, and I did not know that. This was news. This was out of nowhere, and um, it blows my mind that Donald Trump would do that because yeah, Donald Trump is a lot of things, but nowhere did I ever think that Donald Trump would be like that.
Right.
Back to your question. I mean, back to your thing.
Hmm.
Donald. This is a man that said, um, grab the women by the what, right?
Right.
Women um had. that came out and talked about Donald Trump. Even Rosie O'Donnell. If you have not listened to don't a word that Rosie O'Donnell had said about Donald Trump, I highly recommend you to listen to a Rosie O'Donnell that knows
Mhm.
Donald Trump personally.
Right.
She knows him personally. That's all I can say.
And you have to understand that Donald Trump, I mean, he's been around for decades to come, and it's just no coincidence that many people are coming forward about their stories, and many people are coming to light about them. In fact, I also read online that a lot of people are saying that these stories are false, that these stories are just absolutely fabricated to try to throw dirt in him, to try to have him lose credibility whenever he's running for president. But again, I mean, first and foremost, when it comes to people who are victims of, all the misconduct that he delivered on women, for instance, these victims don't ever want to speak out. They actually wait for decades if they ever do, but if not, then they actually never tell anyone. But these women wait for decades, and that's exactly what happened with Carol, for instance. And I feel sorry for her because I mean, a lot of people were going against her for just basically claiming the truth. The judge, the jury, everybody there definitely, of course, agreed to the fact that Donald Trump was guilty in misconduct towards that woman. I should say woman. In terms of women, however, it's very weird because I was watching this other video too, and he said this is about his daughter, by the way. And I believe his daughter was underage during this video, during this time. And I'm going to have to fact check on that, but I'm pretty sure she was underage. But let's, aside from that, Donald Trump literally in a talk show even said out loud that he was willing to date his daughter because he thought she was so beautiful that he would actually absolutely date her. Does that raise some concern a little bit? I mean, what could have been happening behind the scenes? I mean, Donald Trump literally has billions of money. He can keep anyone and everyone to shut up by signing a non-disclosure agreement. And who's to say perhaps maybe his own daughter signed a NDA so she doesn't speak out. I mean, these are all just speculation and these are all questions, but we do not know the answers. But I'm just saying, Donald Trump is that sick in the mind that he probably would be willing to have his own daughter sign in an NDA.
I don't know what was in his mind. I feel so. If I was if I was Ivanka Trump, right, I would be horrific. I would be like, "Dad, what are you saying? What are you talking about? I am your daughter. You do
Right.
not say that about me. I am your flesh and blood." So whatever Donald Trump was um, thinking at the time, I don't know what he was thinking. He is shown to be one creepy guy.
Right. And it's funny too because a lot of people always said that Joe Biden was the one that was creepy, which I can absolutely disagree 100%. It was Donald Trump, to me at least, that was always creepy. His creepy demeanor, the way that he would talk about women, the way that he would talk about kids. From what I understand, he was good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. We know the story behind Epstein. So just that alone, it just creeps me out that a guy like this is willing to even run for president. I mean, he is a felon. No doubt about that. He is a 100%,
34 counts.
100%. Yes. And the thing is, Trump was also, by the way, impeached twice by the House of Representatives. It was back in 2019 for the abuse of power and the obstruction of Congress, and then 2021 for the insurrection that happened at the Capitol riot on January 6th. And let's talk about that for a second because this just absolutely, I don't understand why anybody would be supporting Donald Trump. I mean, the Capitol riot that happened back in 2021, January 6th, for instance, everyone says that Donald Trump is indeed innocent, but he really isn't because before the big attack or the big insurrection, Donald Trump made these speeches that really insinuated the idea that, hey, this election was stolen. Joe Biden didn't truly win. This is just all some sort of made up stuff so they can try to screw us over. So I say we do something about it. Of course, he didn't verbally directly say, yeah, everyone, let's go ahead and go to the Capitol, let's attack it and all that stuff. He didn't, but he really did incite it. He really did imply that that's what the American people in his end should do. What are your thoughts about that? That the fact that he is indeed responsible for the Capitol attacks that happened a couple of years back, and yet everyone still sees that, or at least his supporters still believe that he's innocent.
So here's my thing about um that, right? Because I keep seeing and hearing about, things about this and Trump supporters and saying, well, Black Lives Matter, being like, um, y'all be trashing stuff like destroying the community and stuff.
Right.
Um, and in no way do I support that, right? I do not support vandalism. I support peaceful protests. Let me just say that right now because of, Black Lives Matter, you know. But when we talk about destroying the state capitol, you went and stormed the state capitol. You don't see any of the Black Lives Matter destroying the state capitol. That never crossed their mind because if we did that, you know what will happen to us, Adrian? You do know
Yeah.
what will happen to us if we
Hmm.
storm the state capitol.
Right. Right.
So,
I mean,
so
that's the thing.
I just don't understand. I don't understand what drove you guys to storm the state capitol. Trump
Yeah. I mean,
lost.
seriously. Right.
Trump lost. What drove you? What inside your head? What made you decide? Okay, I'm going to do something and destroy the state capitol and throw a big hissy fit because Trump did not win.
In their crazy minds, they believe that they were going to try to overturn the election. They believe that it was going to successfully happen, that they were going to really allow Congress to basically say, hey, everybody, Joe Biden did win, but it was stolen, so Donald Trump is going to remain being president. That's what these Trump idiots, I guess, these Trump supporters did believe it was going to happen. And I thought it was absolutely ridiculous, if you ask me, the fact that they're willing to do this. In fact, they actually, I think, from what I said, I mean, there were so many people that were targeted that night, obviously.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but one thing that I also want to mention too, and I said this before, I mentioned this before, September 11th, 2001, that was the day terrorists attacked the United States of America, and the United 93 plane was headed towards the Capitol building, at least allegedly. So can you
yeah.
imagine that morning, those brave Americans on that plane were able to thwart the terrorists from crashing the plane into the Capitol building, and yet 20 years later, who attacked the Capitol building? It wasn't terrorists. It
It
was
was our
our
own
own
people.
people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Our own people. I mean, isn't that just crazy to believe that people, the Trump supporters, that is, don't even view it that way? They're still supporting the guy?
You know, I I've seen people say this a lot, and I'm starting to believe it. It's a cult. It's all a cult. Donald Trump is the cult leader. He is just like what was his name? The Nazi guy. What was his name? Adolf Hitler. Yes,
Yes.
he is the same like Adolf Hitler. If you don't believe me, there's people on TikTok. I just did a stitch of someone that was on TikTok tattooed Trump on her
Right.
forehead. On her forehead.
I
Like,
mean,
like, are you
I mean, who's
like
gonna go that
how
far?
how stupid can you be? You get a tattoo on your forehead that says Trump. You're never going to get a job. If you're looking for a job, you're definitely not going to get it with that
Oh yeah.
big forehead.
I mean, for sure. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to actually accept you because, for the most part, jobs are professional. Obviously, they don't want anyone really supporting either sides whenever they're in a professional environment. But nonetheless, aside from that, Trump has done so much bad that I don't think anybody would be interested in hiring this lady either. And I saw the
No,
footage. I saw, and she had, yeah, you're right. She literally had the name Trump, and it wasn't a small letter or just, it wasn't small lettering or anything like that. It literally was huge. I mean, we're talking about big letters. It really was across her forehead.
let me tell you, I'm a fan of I'm a fan of Obama. I liked
Hmm.
Obama, right?
It was
You don't
great.
see me. You do not see me putting Obama on my forehead. I like Biden. You do not
Hmm.
see me putting Biden on my forehead. You do
Yeah.
not see me putting Kamala Harris anywhere on my body. I wear the shirts, yes, but you do not see me get any of the presidents tattooed on my body, even as big as they on my forehead.
It's really sad if you ask me. And I go back. I honestly, I mean, I agree with you 100% with what you said moments ago. I mean, it's really like a big cult. It really is. Um, Obviously, Donald Trump becoming the cult leader and everybody else is just going to be following. Donald Trump can say the most ridiculous things in the world and everyone who supports him would believe it. Donald Trump can come out right now and say that he literally went to Mars yesterday and everybody would believe that because that's just how they are. They don't really, I think all these people who support Trump, they don't really have any rhyme or reason. They just think that, hey, well, whatever Donald Trump says, he's correct. And if you disagree with him, you're wrong. And that's how it is. I mean, for the most part, and I got to tell you, this is a personal experience, but of course, you've seen it many times in the past as well. Every single time I come across a person who actually supports Trump and I have a political debate with them, it always turns hostile. But why is it? It's because of the Trump supporter themselves. They get so offensive every single time they hear something that is actually just fact, And the thing is, for example, you and I, we know we're very respectful to people. We can talk
Yes.
to people who are supporting Donald Trump just fine. However, the problem is, for the most part, most people who support Donald Trump, they get so upset very quickly whenever you tell them something that they just don't want to hear. And it goes back to what you said. It really is like a cult. It really is.
Yeah, and there was one thing that I was talking about. Um, on Twitter, I was saying people said who would I like to see John Cena last match, right? And
Hmm.
some idiot would I said The Rock, right? And then some idiot would say, "Oh, you're a Trump hater," and all that stuff. Like, what? Like they bring politics into something that is not like nothing. Like what? Why? Why bring in
That is
politics that does not have
right.
nothing to do with politics?
Do you ever see anyone doing that from the Democratic side of
No, no,
things?
no,
I don't.
absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Now, I understand. Now, when people talk about Hogan, yes, people will say things about Hogan because he's endorsing Donald Trump. Yes, I understand
Right.
that. Yes, um, but like with other things like Rock and Cena, like Triple H, like why do you bring politics into that? Just because Donald Trump was in WWE for how long? How long was Donald Trump in WWE? Not that long, and then of course he got inducted in the Hall of Fame. But uh, he no Trump supporters are not all, some are stupid.
Man, and I agree. Not all, but I would say a lot of people out there are definitely they are just mindless. It's just they're a bunch of lemmings. I mean, they follow each other just because Donald Trump says it. It must be true, so they follow until the very end. I gotta say another example of Donald Trump being racist. Donald Trump, the same man who questioned Barack Obama's birth certificate back in the day, a couple of years back
Yes.
when, actually at this point over a decade ago. But nonetheless, yeah, when Barack Obama was president of the United States, a lot of people say, well, no, Trump is not, he's not racist. That was indeed racist to assume Barack Obama, just because he was black, he was actually born in Kenya. And the fact is, he was saying that, hey, I want to see the certificate. I don't think you were really born here in the United States and all that stuff. How racist could he be? I mean, seriously, Donald Trump made so many racial comments about Obama and his race and just asking for proof about birth certificate and so forth. It was absolutely disgusting. Donald Trump believes that he can say whatever he wants, whatever he says, or whatever he says. And I think it's just absolutely horrible how he does treat people with just disrespect. If he doesn't like the person, he will absolutely treat you with disrespect. Reporters out there that only want to do their job. For instance, I've seen reporters that work for CNN, for instance. Donald Trump believes that CNN is, quote, fake news. So if he comes across a person that he never met before and he's talking to the reporter that works for CNN, he will immediately shut them down just because he believes CNN is a fake news outlet, so everyone here who works for CNN must be an idiot. How ignorant can you be? Seriously, the man's a racist. The man just absolutely is a disgusting human being. Not only has he groped women in the past, of course, he has so many misconducts. He's been impeached many times, twice, and I can't say enough about him. And I seriously cannot say enough in terms of negativity because I don't understand exactly what his deal is, and I don't understand why in the world Donald Trump ever chose to run for president. He really made it worse, I would say, from the years 2017 to 2020. Um, COVID 19 also was absolutely bad because of him. If you remember, T, COVID 19, it first really started coming out in November of 2019, December 2019, the news reports, that is.
Yeah.
They were saying that, hey, there's this virus that's over there in China and we can't contain it. And it seems as if this virus is not like we've ever seen it before. And Donald Trump said, no, 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 let me dismiss that because it's all fake. This is just all a hoax. China's trying to distract us so we can end up having a destroyed economy and all that. So that was November, December 2019. January, that month came in and they said, hey, President, you might want to look more into this because it's no joke. This virus now is beginning to spread. Oh, no, no, no. This is all a hoax. Don't worry about it. This is just a hoax. Okay, February. President, hello. It's out of China and it's reaching to other countries in Europe now and Asia. And I think now is the time that we can probably begin to shut down, the United States as a whole and entering and exiting the United States. No, it's a hoax. It wasn't until March of 2020 that he actually finally decided to make a change when he should have done it at least in December. He waited 3 months, and because of that, so many people here in the United States died because of COVID. And it's just so sad how he dealt with that.
Can we talk about how he had COVID? Can we, seriously?
Yeah.
With all that, this man turned around and got COVID. How stupid can you be? Right? You know there's a deadly virus from Asia, and you go like, oh no, we're okay, we're good, nothing's gonna happen. It's not gonna reach U.S. You do know Americans go to Asia and travel back to America, right?
Right. And it was horrible because there were a lot of Americans over there in Asia that couldn't come home to the United States.
Right. And I forgot how he caught COVID. I forgot how he caught COVID, but the man got COVID, had COVID once, and I think they had a quarantine him for a
Mm-hmm.
minute.
Right.
And I think his brother died from COVID. One of his
Right.
relatives died. Um, but yeah, it's just that, and the fact that you mentioned about how Trump was being rude to Obama about race. It's just the same thing what he's doing to Kamala. He's saying that Kamala isn't black, she's Asian or something like that.
Right. She's Indian apparently in his mind.
Right, right. But any small amount of black in her, she's black. Any amount of black, she's black.
Right.
It doesn't matter if she's Indian or like myself, I'm black, white, Indian, French. I have black in me. I am black. Yes, I am mixed, but I am black.
Right. And what really is the issue anyway? Donald Trump seems to be, and his supporters that is, but Donald Trump seems to be the only person in the world that always brings an issue when it comes to race. And I said this before, you said it before, we all said it before, at least all the good people. Why are we judging people based on someone's race? Who cares? It's interesting to learn about them, and it's absolutely great to learn about it. But are you going to judge the person based on that race? No. You interact with the person, and based on how they act to you, based on their behavior, those are the traits that you judge. Not, oh, well, yeah, this guy's black, so I'm gonna just not necessarily treat him with much respect. I mean, what? I don't understand what Donald Trump and the other idiots who support him. I don't understand exactly what their deal is. I'll never understand that viewpoint. I mean, seriously, racists as a whole, I'll never understand what kind of mindset they have in just dismissing people that are not white. If you're not white, then apparently you're going to get dismissed. I'll never understand that mindset. That is the most ignorant mindset in the entire world for
This
for anybody out there to dismiss them because of different races.
this all goes back to what we were taught in the history books schools. We were taught in schools that Christopher Columbus discovered America, which
Oh,
we
geez.
learned which was a full blown lie.
Yes.
We learned it was a lie because the white supremacists wanted to tell us that Christopher Columbus discovered America when this land was what? It was indigenous people land. It was the Indians land. It was the Native Americans land.
Right.
It was not
I
my
mean,
land. It was
right.
not the Hispanic land. Well, of course, the Battle of the Alamo, of course, yes. But this, but this was the Indians' land. This was Native territory.
And isn't
How?
it? Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna quickly say how isn't it kind of funny that everyone says that yeah, white people deserve to be in the United States, and yet even long before white people were here, it was actually engulfed with Native Americans, non-white people.
Yeah, and this was a thing on TikTok because I got hit with it too. Because people told I should go back to Africa. I was like, you know
Oh
what?
my.
If I go back to Africa, I want you to go wherever you came from because it's not your home. Like
Right.
seriously, I go back. If I go to Africa, I want you to go wherever you're from.
And that's a good comeback because yeah, every single time you hear somebody say, "Hey, you got to go back to where you come from or where you came from," okay, well, if you want to say that to me, then I have the right to say that to you because this wasn't your land to begin with anyway. We kind of took over and we killed those innocent Native Americans and claimed it to be ours. And apparently, the United States then became, hey, this is where white people should be living in. Which, really, in the case, no, it wasn't like that initially.
Yeah, like they brought us here. They brought my ancestors here in America. So
And,
yeah,
yeah, I agree with that 100%. And I got to say real quick that, also there's always a lot of people out there who always say that immigrants should not be here in the United States. If you're not white, you should get out of the country. A lot of people tend to forget, though, that it was the role of the immigrants during the Great Depression that actually helped the economy. Literally, I mean, immigrants, they made up a substantial portion of the United States in the labor force and all that stuff. And it actually helped certain sectors continued to just function through the hard economic times and the Great Depression. So, nonetheless, immigrants from all over the world, from China, from Ireland, and so forth, they helped the United States' economy. So, when people say no immigrants should be here, that is probably the most contradicting statement they can ever say because it was the immigrants themselves that made the United States into the country it is today. The United States always prides itself in saying that we are the land of opportunity, that this is America, everyone's dream to come here. That it is the melting pot, so to speak. A lot of people claim that America is the greatest country because we allow everyone and anyone to join our country to really have a good life here. And yet, all of these idiots out there who say otherwise, most of the Trump supporters believe that no, you should just leave our country, go back to where you came from. It's ridiculous.
so um, my thoughts on the immigrants, I can understand where they're coming from. However, um, like, and I'm going to continue using WWE as a reference because
Mhm.
there's so many um wrestlers that's from different countries like Rhea Ripley and Chelsea Green and stuff.
Hmm.
If you're gonna come here and work, you know, actual do your work and get your green card, that would be the best thing to do. But if you're gonna come here and not work, then yeah, that could be a problem. But you, if you're going to come here and actually do work, then I see no problem. You know, Chelsea
Right.
Green, Rhea Ripley, um, uh, who else? Who else? Sheamus and
Sheamus is one.
Sheamus and Damian Damian Priest and
Hmm.
Finn Balor. You have great people that wants to work here in America. You know, and just be a U.S. citizen, and that's what they do. If you coming here, not working, not doing a thing, then that's a problem. But I do, like I said, I do see both sides.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when it comes to illegal immigrants, I do agree there shouldn't be any illegal immigrants coming over here in the United States because a lot of them do indeed commit some illegal acts and all that stuff. So I do agree on that end. And even the Democrats believe it. A lot of people say, no, Democrats believe that every immigrant should join in. No, that's not true. Democrats also believe that illegal immigrants should not be welcomed in this country for the sake of our protection. However, we also believe that immigrants who are willing, as you said, willing to get their green card and willing to put food on their table for their family and to work, that is what we accept. Unlike the Trump supporters who believe, no, they shouldn't come here regardless. But listen, it was a great talk. I do want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. We hit over, I think, what, 30 minutes? Yes. So with that being said, any final thoughts, T?
November. Just vote, please vote. It's it is important to go out and vote. Um, you know, to the people that say, "Oh, I'm not going to vote," you're just letting Trump win at this point. If you
Right.
don't vote, it's going to go to Trump. So, um, just just vote, vote.
I agree with that 100%. Please cast your vote over in November. Vote for Kamala Harris. That would be a much better choice than Donald Trump. And if Donald Trump becomes president again,
We're
well,
going to go to hell.
expect, yes,
We're going to hell.
expect a
That
lot of
that
problems again.
yes. We're
Well, thanks
going
for joining us.
backwards.
Yeah, we are. That's a good point. We really are. Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll catch you next time in the next episode for the Eon Network podcast. For T, I'm Adrian Matt. Good night, everybody.
Hey.